Okay, so what I have here are two different Gyokuro teas. The first is the Gyokuro Sasa Hime, and the second is the Gyokuro Wakamusha. And these are both from the farmer Mr. Sakamoto, who's a really talented organic Gyokuro farmer in southern Japan. But they're two different teas. So this one is purely from the Okumidori. This one is purely from the Okumidori cultivar, and this one is a blend of three different cultivars: the Okumidori, Saimidori, and Yabukita. So they're two teas that are often compared to one another because they both contain Okumidori cultivar tea, but they're a little bit different in their flavors. So we're going to compare them today. I'm just going to take 5 grams of each of the leaves, rough estimation. Okay, there's the Sasahime. And now we have the Wakamusha. So the Wakamusha is a much newer tea, at least for us at Neo Teas. We picked it up about a year ago. I did a taste comparison of the 3 Gyokuro teas that we currently had, the Jamusume, Sasahime, and Chamejin, versus the Wakamusha, and I really liked the Wakamusha. It's actually my favorite. But I'm going to try to put that bias aside for now and compare the two teas. So here, Sasahime, here Wakamusha. I guess just upon the first glance, the Sasahime does have slightly larger needles. I'm not sure if that's consistent or just what I happen to pour out. But yes, you see both of the needles are very, very dark. There are some lighter pieces inside. I would say that overall the Wakamusha is slightly darker, whereas the Sasahime, you get some of these lighter green pieces. But not a whole lot of difference in the leaves themselves. So let's go ahead and prepare these two teas. This we can do using a black Tokonama Kyusu and a red Tokonama Kyusu. The black Tokonama Kyusu is from our website. The red one is just one I picked up in Japan a couple of years ago. So for both of these teas, I'm going to be using 6 degrees Celsius water and a brewing time of 2 minutes. So first, I'll do the black one. And next, I'll pour the red one. So close these up and I'll give them 2 minutes each. I can tell you a little bit about the tea itself. So Gyokuro is considered to be the most sought after leaf tea in Japan. It's in a similar kind of category to matcha in that it's this kind of revered, legendary Japanese green tea. The difference is that matcha is powdered and Gyokuro is in loose leaf form. Both of these teas are shaded for 3 weeks prior to the harvest, and during that time, there's less catechins being produced by the leaf. So catechins are produced when the sunlight is hitting the tea leaf. It converts the theanine into catechins as a protection against the UV light. So this process doesn't happen with long shaded teas, or at least it doesn't happen as much with these long shaded teas like Gyokuro and Sencha. So they're able to retain more of their natural sweetness because catechins are kind of the bitter components of a green tea. So then after they've been shaded for 3 weeks before the harvest, they're going to be picked, and the picking is very important with Gyokuro. It's only the top 3 leaves of the tea plant. So these are thought to be, or they are, the highest in nutrients and the smoothest and sweetest in flavor. So all this extra work in the production process is really meant to maximize the flavor of this tea. And as you'll see in the tasting, Gyokuro has a very distinct flavor profile to it. And I think it's something that I personally really enjoy, and I think a lot of people will as well. So I'm just going to give this a few more seconds. The reason why the steeping time is longer here, 2 minutes instead of 1 minute, is because, as you saw before, the leaves are so tightly rolled that they need a little bit more time to open up and fully release their flavor into the water. So 2 minutes should be enough time to let that happen. But what I'm going to do here is, actually I'm going to put these packs here in case I lose track of the two teas, and then I'm going to go ahead and pour out the Wakamusha first because that's the one I brewed first. So Just see, it starts out a little bit clearer and then it really gets cloudier because the tea that's poured out last tends to be the most flavorful. And then go ahead and pour out the Sasa Hime. So it starts out clear, but it should get a little bit cloudier as I pour, hopefully. And I would say the quantity of water is just about spot on. So I definitely did not plan that, but I guess it seemed to work out. So it's very good. So now if we just take a quick look at the two teas, this one is a little bit greener and this one is a little bit yellower. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the tea itself or how it was brewed, a subtle difference in how it was brewed. But Okumidori teas tend to be a little bit greener. They also tend to be a little bit cloudier because there is more theanine in this tea. Whereas here you have some of the Yapukita cultivar blended in, and this is going to yield a slightly more yellow color and less of theanine. So you notice like this little, this is definitely a good sign. It's like usually a sign of a sweeter tea, this kind of layer on top. You get more of it with the Wakamusha than with the Sasa Hime. So let's go ahead and try this out. First, the Sasa Hime. It's very good. Yeah, it's got this kind of cool, let's see. I would actually say it's more of a warm sweetness. It's kind of like almost a little bit of caramel. This is also what I get with the Chamejin. With the Chamejin, I get a much warmer sweetness. Here I'm getting it as well. Maybe a little hint of cantaloupe. And I also sometimes get this this kind of floral note with the Sasa Hime, which is really nice. So this is a pretty complex tea. Normally you don't have all these flavors going on at once. You kind of have this more vegetal flavor. You have this kind of sweetness, this deep umami flavor, rich umami flavor. You have kind of this slight fruitiness and a little bit of this floral taste note. So definitely a lot going on here. Wakamusha. Yeah, I would say it's much sweeter, much smoother. A little bit more of this, a little bit more of that seaweedy taste profile that you would normally get, that you would expect to get from a Gyokuro. I would say the Wakamusha is more of your classic Gyokuro. You know, if you're a fan of Gyokuro tea and you've tried quite a few, this is kind of, you know, what you might be looking for. Is this powerful kind of almost seaweedy flavor, this kind of brothy consistency, this really thick mouthfeel. That's what you get with the Wakamusha. Almost has like a little bit of a cereal finish to it, but really sweet, really smooth. So yeah, these teas are pretty similar. Let me see. With the Sasa Hime, you're getting a little bit more of this fruitiness. Wakamusha, you're getting more of this kind of steamed vegetable, seaweedy, kind of a cooler sweetness to it. But they're both very good. They're both very sweet, very smooth, really good teas. This is a high caffeine tea, so I would recommend only really drinking it in the morning time. Unfortunately for me, this is actually my favorite tea by far, so I have to be really careful with the caffeine content. And because like a full cup of Gyokuro can have 120 milligrams of caffeine or even more, so it's on a similar level to a cup of coffee. This tea also works great as a cold brew. So if it's the summertime, if it's hot out and you don't want to drink a warm tea, try this tea out as a cold brew. The Sasa Hime has been a classic for us as a cold brew tea, but the Wakamusha works great as well. So I hope you get a chance to try out both of these teas and see which one you like more. I personally am impartial to the Wakamusha, but the Sasa Hime has been far more popular, so maybe you're in that camp as well. But I hope you get a chance to taste these two teas side by side and see which one you like more and kind of see how the different flavor profiles develop. So you can find both these teas at our website, neoteas.com, and I really hope you enjoyed this tasting. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, but until then, we'll see you guys next time.